There have been a lot of rumours going about a certain midfielder from Nottingham Forest, Elliot Andersen, as the prime replacement for Manchester United's midfield. Also, we see players like Baleba, players like Argil Stoller, and other players being linked to United as the midfield replacement or an additional midfielder to the rotation in which we have now. In my opinion, United, yes, Elliot Andersen can be a target. Yes, Carlos Baleba can be a target, and others. But there are other midfielders within Europe, I think, that best suits United's way of play and best suits what is needed for the midfielder that United needs than, say, an Elliot Andersen and a Carlos Baleba. Now, the type of profile of midfielder United needs, not only does that destroyer, they need a destroyer, they also need a player who can get about the pitch and is also very sound on the ball. So you need an all-round midfielder. But then, you also need a midfielder with a bit of physicality, because I think one of my biggest cons with a Carlos Baleba or one of my biggest cons with an Elliot Andersen, a Stoller from Stuttgart and others, my biggest issue with these guys are the physicality, their physical presence on the pitch. And they need to not only bring what Casemiro brings in terms of the destroying ability, but they also need goal scoring ability. They also need physical ability. They also need the understanding to see that we need somebody that's good in both boxes, because Casemiro brings all those attributes. So let's talk about some of the midfielders I think United should target. So number one is Hugo Larsson from Frankfurt. Now, Hugo Larsson is a very young midfielder. Hugo Larsson is 21 years old. He's a Swedish midfielder. He's currently playing at Frankfurt. Now, he's been at Frankfurt for Malmo since 2023. So, his contract, yes, he signed an extension last year, but that is just for them to secure themselves within a transfer. Now, we see a lot of these midfielders being linked to United being cost for 100 million, 80 plus million, 120 plus million, where these midfielders like a Hugo Larsson would cost United around the 50 million range. Now, not only is he 6'2", but also this guy ranks in the top 51st percentile for progressive passes. He's rated in the 35th percentile for shots. He's rated in the 55th percentile for tackles, the 82nd percentile for interceptions. And out of all the three midfielders I've mentioned, this guy more focuses on the destroying side of the game and the connecting of the midfield to the defense and to the attack, more than he really studies getting into the box, creating those spaces for him to get and create and score more goals. Because even this season and for the last couple of seasons, he doesn't really contribute as many goals and assists to his game. So this is not a big part of his game. But what he is really good at is defending, is intercepting the ball, is being in the right place, blocking shots. And his defensive attributes outshines clearly his attacking attributes. Now, one midfielder that is really good going forward and brings a complete game is this other midfielder, which is Khéphren Thuram. Now, a lot of y'all may not know, but Thuram comes from a very blessed family. You have Thuram, who's playing for Inter Milan striker, his brother. You had his father, who was also a professional. And now you have his younger brother and son, Khéphren Thuram, who is a top midfielder within Europe. Now, many people may say, hey, but how old this man is? First of all, he's just 24 years old. So this year, he made 24. He's 6'4". He's an imposing figure on the pitch. Not only that, he gets goals. This season already, he has 8 games, 2 goals. So he contributes goals, just like Casemiro. Casemiro probably have 9 games, 3-4 goals. So they contribute. And this is what a big part of this guy's game is contributing, being box to box, getting involved in the game, always being amongst it. He's not the greatest going forward. He's not the greatest defending. He's an overall really good midfielder. And he averages in some of the top percentiles in Europe. Not only is he a French midfielder, which I think France have some of the best midfielders to ever touch football, but also when you look at some of his statistics, he is ranging for passing in the top 75% percentile. For shots total, 78% percentile. Non-penalty goals, he's in the 74th percentile. Tackles, 31st percentile. Clearances, 51st percentile. Blocks, 59th percentile. Now, what kind of makes me worry is for this guy, he has the lowest one of the lowest percentages in terms of interceptions. But we don't really need, yes, we need a ball winner, but I just believe we need a player that can get around the pitch and do everything at a high level than find that one player that's just really good at that one thing. I don't think Amorim's system really calls for players to have just one distinct attribute. I think he wants midfielders that can do it all, that can defend, that can play that can create, that can get into the box, that can cover space, and that is why you see Bruno and Casemiro kind of is the best combination in terms of for Rúben Amorim, because both of them can do a bit more of everything than a Meno, who I think technically is probably better than everyone in that midfield, but he doesn't have the passing range. He doesn't have the ability to win the ball back. Even Bruno is better winning the ball back than Kobe. Even Bruno has a better passing range. So there's few things that Bruno have that's better than Kobe. Same with Ugarte. Ugarte, in my opinion, is just a destroyer. Every other part of the game he struggles, which is why, in my opinion, United need a midfielder that can do it all. Now, the third midfielder, but the last for this show, is a lot of y'all may think, oh God, who is this guy? Leslie Ukuchukwu. Now, a lot of y'all don't know this guy, but he came from the Chelsea's academy. Chelsea, again, having quality players and not doing anything with them. Moved from Chelsea to the Hampton to Burnley. This guy is a top midfielder, in my opinion, on his way up. Another French midfielder. I tell you, I love me my French midfielders. I'm a massive Paul P fan. I'm a massive Zidane fan. I can name many more. Matuidi, Rabiot. Continue naming them. Top midfielders, and the one and only, the true GOAT of all French midfielders, N'Golo, the Antonio, the one and only Kante, the African Mamba, the Kunte Kinte, the one and only, the Black Mamba, N'Golo Kante, baller. And let me tell you, Leslie has similar attributes to N'Golo Kante with a physical presence of a Turan as well. So he is 6'3", so similar height. All these three players, as you can see I've named, all have imposing, they are very imposing, physically imposing, because that's what the Premier League is requiring at the moment. The technical players are kind of fading away in terms of really small, nitty-gritty top performers. You need strong lads in the middle of the park in order to dominate football games in the Premier League now. You have to. And this guy brings it to another level. So he is ranked in the top 60% for pass completion, averaging around 85% per game. So not bad as for a young midfielder. And let's not forget, this guy is also born in 2004, so 21 years old. So none of these guys I've called has capped over the age of 25, which is what United is looking for. Also, all of them are top midfielders in what they bring to the game, which is another top attribute of each. Now, with Leslie again, for tackles, he's ranked in the 73rd percentile. You have clearances 44th, blocks 74th. So this guy, again, is a machine that gets around the pitch and defensively is a lot more sound than attacking. But what he is good is both boxes. He's good in both boxes. He's good in the air. He's good with progressing the ball. He's safe on the ball. He's a good shooter of the ball from distance. He can control the games. He tries to control the pace of the games next to Colin. But he's more of that destroyer. And that is why, for me, watching him, and especially watching Thuram, they play next to midfielders that progressively kind of bring what a Maino brings, what a Bruno brings. So which is why I think also they would fit a lot better next to one of those players than we think these other guys like a Elliot Andersen, like a Carlos Baleba would bring to United. But yes, people, these are my 3 alternative options to a Baleba, to a Elliot Andersen, and to others. Just bringing you a bit more understanding of what I think United should go after, why I think they should target these midfielders, and why I think these midfielders would make our team better. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Ciao.